Hi, warriors. This is Jalen, my legal warrior, and today we have a very special guest for our new series, No Lives Matter Unless. Today we have Ruba. She's a life and success coach, certified neurolinguistic programming practitioner, and certified health coach. She helps people find the clarity, the roadmap, and the action to achieve success, ultra health, happiness, and a passion-driven life. Ruba's helped hundreds of clients worldwide and leads dynamic coaching programs, women's circles, workshops, and retreats on mindset, emotional health, confidence, mindfulness, life-work balance, life transitions such as divorce and health, including lifelong solutions for weight loss, vitality, and living on purpose. She is a speaker, mom of 3 girls, and a half marathon runner, and a world traveler. Hi, Ruba. How are you?
Hello, Jalen. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm very excited and honored to have you on our My Legal Warrior channel again, especially helping our viewership have a little bit more, clarity as to how we're using our business and socioeconomic status to effectuate a positive change. As you guys know, warriors, we're trying to not only educate but inspire and empower our viewership. So that leads me to my first question for you. How are you using your business and or your socioeconomic status to fight against systematic racism?
It's a great question. And, it starts with education. I honestly had to educate myself on this subject. I knew that racism exists, but is it continuing to exist in such a systemic way as we're coming now to recognize? So the first thing that I've done, actually, I've started looking into this term, systemic racism, and how it is rooted in neighborhoods, housing, education, the job market. And it's astonishing to start finding out things like this. They are happening on a daily basis. So just recognizing this, and the first thing is, allowing my voice to be loud and clear throughout my platforms where I am standing, and inviting people truly to educate themselves on the subject and be that sound of education too, in order to direct them to certain channels. Like, now we know how Netflix had put a bunch of Black Lives Matters educational series. You can watch movies or, documentaries, reading, blogs, books, watching movies like the ones I mentioned, and the documentaries, things like that. So you start with educating oneself with where this systematic racism exists and how is it showing up in our lives. And now, it's not easy for someone who is on the other end of it, like not receiving this type of racism. But what type of society or community would accept such a problem existing where other group in the human community that it's suffering from its subsequences? So we have starting really with educating, starting with standing into our voices and voicing that through our platforms. It was very clear in the groups that I have, in our group meetings, our coaching circles. It was the highlight up until now. And not only now we're going through this education, we're understanding what's happening, but at the same time, how can this be a tool to continue taking action? Because it's not, this is not going to be resolved on just in a few weeks or in a few months. A change, and a profound change, does take time. So what are we going to do after educating, or while we are educating ourselves on this? What actions should be taking And now these channels are available. So the discussion goes into signing petitions, finding a healthy outlet for your voice as a professional or as an individual to be part of the change and the solution.
Thank you for that. And thank you for using your platform to offer a forum for individuals to have these discussions. A lot of people do shy away from things that are, uncomfortable for us. And that's completely normal. And I think it's to acknowledge, those feelings that, yeah, it is going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but have them. It's okay. And to feel, safe in that space is also, in my opinion, pretty important as well. So it kind of brings me to my next question about, since you are a life and success coach, is what is one coping strategy that you can give those who experience systematic racism?
I want to start by actually kind of like pointing to the people on the other end of it. And then definitely, because racism is not the problem of the group of people who are experiencing the racism, and in which case now are our Black community. Now, on the other end of it, we cannot be a community if this problem exists. So we just have to come to this understanding. And what can someone on the other end of it, what can they do? So the first thing we touched upon was getting educated. And now we're talking about people who are on the other end of it. You're watching, you're seeing this, you're realizing how bad it got. And all these events started adding up and really telling us that there is, and it's so unfortunate because it's like a series of painful events, one after another. It just shook everyone. And if it didn't shake you, I really invite you to look further. There is something here that it's telling us a change need to be made. So besides getting educated, and in which you don't have to have a PhD in ethnic studies or being a history scholar, just make an effort to go back in history and learn from plantations time up until today. So that's number one. And number two is speaking up, on you about yourself. I hear lots of people saying, I'm afraid to say the wrong thing, or how can I support in a way which I don't offend the other? Talk on using your voice and your intent to be, a vessel to help and educate. You're not going to be mistaken, and people make mistakes. That's fine. We can apologize for them if they're offensive, but you're making an effort to speak up because, again, it's our problem. It's not a certain group's problem, and it has to be dealt with, and we have to come to solutions as we go, and it will take time for sure. So it is part of society. It's part of the culture. Face it this way. Now, for our brothers and sisters who are going through the racism on the receiving end of it, sometimes we wish we have magic solutions, right? It is a difficult time as it is. And honestly, I had so many conversations, and it's painful to know what Black families have to go through, the conversations that they have to have with their children. It is heartbreaking. It is. And at this time, there is no magical solution. We all have to be hand in hand together to let them know that we support them, we stand with them, and to let them know also that this is, again, our problem, not only their problem. So, one of the things that on the receiving end of racism absolutely get support, and not only from friends and family. There are so many voices out there, educators, journalists, listen to them. They have a beautiful voice, and they voice your voice. So it's great to see and to know that these voices exist and they are out there. The other thing is definitely getting empowered, because, you know, coming from a war zone myself, and I thought I knew about the human struggle in general, and specifically when it comes to racism. But honestly, as I've started my talk with you, Jalen, I had to go and educate myself. I see it from a certain angle. There is so much to it. So for you know, getting empowered in a sense of finding an outlet for your voice. I know there is lots of sadness and there is lots of anger associated with all what's happening, but to find a healthy outlet to it, like blogging, you know, making videos, doing interviews like this. And thank you so much, Jalen, for doing that. You know, using your voice to educate others, to have conversations, make a video, you know, join those whole amazing younger group of people doing TikToks and all that. Just get involved, and that will empower you to express your voice in a good way.
Well, if our viewership wanted to get a hold of you for more information, or if they're struggling themselves on the other end or the receiving end of systematic racism, or just want to have a discussion with you about everything that is going on in this racially charged climate, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, my website, and there is a section where they can book a free consultation there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Ruba, for your time, your energy, and just being in the space with us. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Time warriors. We will see you on our next series. And thanks again, Ruba.
You're so welcome. Thank you.